A new thing that you guys never heard of, AI. Um, how often do you guys use AI in your business? Like 5 times a day, once a week? Give me like an understanding of where you guys are at. Every day? Every hour, every hour, every hour, every day, every day. All right, so you guys are all pretty well versed. Cool. So I'm gonna go through, so a little bit of background on what I do. I run a sales agency, so we run 12 different sales teams at the same time. Don't ask why I decided to go into that line of work, but 12 sales teams, over 65 reps, so hundreds of calls every single day, multiple managers, setters, closers, CRM, tasks. So we feel the pain of running a sales team and a sales process pretty amplified. So we've had to build some cool AI stuff. So I'm gonna talk to you about how we use AI to help us make more money, close more deals, and the golden word is do less, right? So we can go on the golf course more, right? So I'm gonna go through, it's really not more so teaching, as you guys mostly know AI. I'm just gonna show you shit that's working, and feel free to like ask questions as we go through. Like this should be like an open dialogue. So yeah, so obviously you don't need to embrace AI, you guys are already doing it. But just to kind of open your eyes on what we're doing on the sales side of things, AI, as you guys know, is great for numbers and for words. It's not so great at like reasoning, or it hallucinates a lot. So we talk about how we guardrail AI in this, as well as building a software ecosystem for your business. So a lot of you guys probably use like Notion, ClickUp, Monday, GHL, all these little SaaSes. They all have limitations, and like you probably have jumped from Monday to ClickUp to Asana to Notion, back to Asana, back to ClickUp, whatever it is. So I'm going to show you how we are just building our own like Notions and Asanas internally, fully custom. And what I would probably say is probably your biggest moat right now is doing those little micro apps. So I'm going to go through that. And my intention today is you come away with a better understanding, real actionable ideation. I have a bunch of JSON N8Ns that I'm gonna give you guys at the end of this about what I go through, so you can actually leave here with something. And then, how many of you guys run like a sales team? Like you have setters, closers? 1, 2, nobody. You guys are the setters and closers. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, you guys understand, I mean, as business owners, you may or may not be very good at updating your CRM. I hope you guys are. It's a super high leverage thing to do, is have a clean pipeline. But I'm gonna go through how this is gonna automate a lot of your follow-ups. It's gonna help you have a higher show rate and conversion rate. So the 4 tools that I use pretty religiously is gonna be Fathom. That's gonna be my call note taker. You guys might use Fireflies or whatever other fucking note taker there is, but Fathom has an actual API key that's open, public API key, so you can actually pull that into any other N8Ns. No one else has an API key, like Fireflies doesn't have one. A lot of them don't. You have to be stuck to Zapier on that. N8N, absolutely awesome. I really don't even use Zapier anymore. I purely use N8N due to the functionality. It's definitely like one step more on the autism scale than Zapier, but once you master N8N, who uses N8N? You guys all use Zapier still? Make, Zap. Highly recommend looking into N8N. And OpenClaw, who uses OpenClaw? 2, nice, cool. So OpenClaw, there's a lot of things that came out, like Perplexity Computer is a new one that came out. Essentially what it is it's just an AI that's able to click buttons and do stuff that you can do on a laptop for you. So usually the way you guys are maybe using AI, you're probably using Claude. Who's using Claude Code? Who's using Cowork? Who's using anything along those lines? Yeah. So you're starting to understand how it can go on your computer, create files, look at files, and actually do shit for you, right? OpenClaw, I've used this since it first started coming out, so I'm an old head with that. It's been out for like 3 months. But I use OpenClaw literally every single day. I talk to it in Slack. That's where I have mine set up. And what OpenClaw has allowed me to do is it actually builds my N8Ns. So I don't even know what all the nodes are. I don't know what those modules are. I don't care to know. I just have an AI build me AI so that I get the output. So I'm going to talk to you about how you don't have to actually click all the buttons. So OpenClaw, there's a lot of like security things. A lot of people bitch about it, but I haven't seen any issues. And then I use Pinecone or Supabase as my database. So who uses a database? This guy. Databases allow you to use AI in a much more powerful way versus you having to do like a Claude project or a GPT project. A database is going to allow you to fill that data automatically. So every time you have a Fathom Zoom call, it feeds into a database. Every time that you make an outbound cold call, database. Every time you get an email reply, into the database. And then the database is going to allow you to visualize and pull that data so you can actually ask questions of your data. So I'm going to go through that. And then you guys all use Fathom, I'm assuming, or a call note taker. Everyone, cool. Awesome. So, what? Granola? I don't know what the fuck that is. Ah, Cluely. Yeah, so how many of you follow up with every single lead that you've had a Zoom call with 5 times? 4 times? 3 times? 3 times? Mostly 3 times, yeah. How many do you remember to follow up with somebody you spoke with 4 months ago? Yeah. How much money do you think is sitting in your GHL or close right now that hasn't paid you? Lots. Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. So the follow-up sucks, right? Because we're busy entrepreneurs. Every single day we have a full to-do list. We have a full task. And we like new calls, first calls. We're all about booking new calls, more outreach, more bookings, ads, right? But we forget about the people that we've already spent all that time and effort acquiring the meeting of, having a valuable conversation. They just weren't ready to pay you then, but they could be ready to pay you now. So what I'm gonna go through is how you do that. So the call ends, right? That automatically fires an N8N, right? That goes into a node, which I can show you. Where are we? Yeah. So you go into N8N or Claude, right? So this pulls in the webhook. This then goes to a prompt through Claude. It formats it, it sends it into Slack, it saves it to the library, and then you can put it into your CRM. Now what it does, what I use it for, is I have it write me, based on the Fathom, 3 emails and 2 text messages. So those are prompts. So each 5 different nodes there. It's going to write a fully customized email based on all the context of the call. Now, if you do something like we do call dispositions at the end of the call. So every time it calls, it actually reads the call transcript, and it's going to say this had a price objection, this had a partner objection, this had a timing objection. It's going to actually understand what the objection was. That's then going to fire a separate N8N that talks about that specific objection. So if somebody didn't have enough money or they were unwilling to depart with that money to pay you, it's going to know that it had that type of objection. So all the objection follow-up emails will reference that specific objection or pain point. It also will reference a specific testimonial, case study, or pain point that we solved for somebody who wasn't at a good revenue mark or somebody who was apprehensive to pay us, right? So all of that happens probably within 2 minutes after the call. Right? So you finish the call, you're taking a piss, and by the time you're done taking that piss that you're holding in for most of the sales call, your entire follow-up is written and put into your CRM as a custom field. Now, I don't like to auto-fire them out. Some people do like to auto-fire them out, but as long as they're put into your custom fields in your CRM, you could just have an email that has that template, and then you could have the AI prompt saying, hey, templatize this so I don't have to edit anything. So it has, hey, first name, this is this, everything's, templatized. Thanks, your name, everything could be in there. It just ports in as one variable in a custom field. And you could automatically have that send out based on different timings. And I'll say in the prompt, hey, this is the second email that's come after the first email and the first text message. And since it's all in the same string, it knows what the context is, so it can actually make sense in the conversation and in the flow of the sales process, right? So all of this is completely done. I don't have to set up a task. I don't have to remember to follow up with somebody. I don't have to send another calendar invite or put something on my to-do list. This is completely done for me, just from me speaking into Fathom or on a Zoom call. Like, how many more deals would you close if this was just completely automated? You had 6, 7 follow-up processes. Is that a question, or are you stretching?
Yeah, is this being loaded up as a task inside of your CRM, or is it just straight up actually sending the full ass email itself without you going over?
So yes, then no, then yes. So once we understand the outputs, right, we have actual VA go through, we put it into a sheet first. They start to look at the outputs, the quality of the outputs. They flag anything that's weird. Sometimes the AI will hallucinate, right? But the way that I look at it is I'm doing, say, 100 of these a month, and I have one that fucks up, I'll take that. Because like, it's better than having a sales rep that just doesn't do follow-ups. But to your point, Daniel, I check it, make sure it's good, then I allow it to be completely automated. And the cool thing is since it's a custom field, you can just change the custom field in the CRM. So if you need to change a name or something like that, or they can easily just kill it from the automation because it's not automatic. So if I'm a sales rep and I'm like, oh, well, I don't want these 5 emails going out, like this is an actual deal that's gonna follow up in a certain time period, they can just kill that automation. But the biggest thing is like, the hardest thing about follow-ups is like, you guys know you need to do them, but every time you go to do it, you're like, what did I talk to this guy about? What was the context of the conversation? What was his problem? What was his pain points? Fuck, now I gotta go open Claude, pull something in, do this. And like, yeah, AI is still doing it, but you're still pushing all the buttons, which sucks. And then by the time you're doing that, you have another call, a Slack notification comes out, as a client ascension call, whatever the hell it is, you just don't do it. So this helps you go from 0 to 1, so you don't even have to think, you don't have to be a copywriter, and you don't have to like context switch every time that you want to do follow-ups, right?
Dylan, do you wait a certain period of time after the call ends to send the email?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there like a good rule of thumb for that? So it's not like, wait, have you send this email so soon after?
Yeah, so I send it like an hour, hour and a half is like the recap email. Okay. And then the other emails will drip out over depending on what the disposition is. So if I say this has a price objection and I'm forecasting it to close in 30 days, it's much quicker. If I'm forecasting it to close in 90 days, it's gonna be much more drawn out.
Yeah, 2 questions. So where do you use calling in this? Do you have like any calling sequences? And then the second one is, are you using this on discovery calls, like post-discovery or post-fail close?
Like an actual Zoom, like 45-minute sales call. Okay. Yeah. We're not doing it on Discovery. We're doing something different on Discovery, which I'm about to go into in regards to like customization. Call tasks, they should be doing, like if it's me, I already know how to call. But for the sales reps, it's part of the sequence that we build. So you'll have call tasks, texts automated, emails automated, all in one flow.
This just makes it so they can be on the phone.
Yeah, and they don't have to be a copywriter. Or like the whole point of like, oh, I got to do a follow-up. It's like, oh, fuck. What do I say? Yeah. Hey, following up. You ready to pay me yet? You know? Yeah, so also the cool thing is that it's completely customized based on the entirety of the conversation. Like we all write notes on sales calls, right? Like if I go into my Apple Notes, I have, well, this is my church one, but if I scroll this, that's every sales call that I've ever had as a human being, dating back to like when I was a 9-to-5 employee in like 2020, right? Like, Brock, who the fuck is this? These are great notes, right? This is his thing, you know, I quoted him on $7,500, 3 months, 90 days. He just spent $8K on his backyard, right? Cool. Those are good notes, right? He's doing self-sabotaging. I don't remember this fucking call. It's from June 28, 2021. So like, I have all the information, but I'm not using it to follow up with Brock, right? So I'm also not a great copywriter. I'm a talker, not a writer. So this does all that to it, and I've seen an increase literally in 5 to 10 to 25 to 35% reply rate, right? Now, Pinecone and Supabase, they're very similar. You can use either or. Excuse me. But essentially what I'm doing is every single reply that I get to these follow-ups, I pour it into a database. So then the AI is actually getting smarter because it's pulling what gets responses, what gets positive responses, and then it's making the copy better and better and better over time based on the things that I actually want happening. So it's not just an arbitrary thing, it's actually learning because I'm giving it a database and I'm giving it context to be able to get smarter without me having to make it smarter. And the cool thing is the AI built the database. Like I'm not thinking, hey, build this, here's an API key, do it how you want it to be done, right? Because the only problem with AI is the human limitation of creativity and building and the constraints that we put on AI, right? N8N can pull from these. It's called an embedding, so the AI embeds different parts of a call. They have a full transcript, they have the name, the email, the objection, anything that you can choose, and that's an actual row in the database. So if I show you one of my databases, I go to one of these. This is Supabase, yeah. So if I go in a table, I go into, I have a bunch of these. So I have, so this is, so like I said, we run 12 different sales teams, right? This is a database of every single call from every single client that we have. And this is literally, so you have the summary and then the transcripts, right? So the entire transcript lives in here. This is 10,000 characters, or it's larger than 10,000 characters, right? Like this is the entire transcript. And there's literally hundreds, if not thousands of these in here. And I have an AI plugged into this. So now, because I'm running multiple teams, I could be like, hey, over the last 5 days, what's the biggest objection we're getting on this client's calls? And since it knows this, it built this itself, it's able to pull in here and be like, hey, these are the 5 biggest pain points. Cool, I can make that a report. It makes it a report. I send it off to the marketer on the company and like, hey, these are the 5 biggest things. We should make some copy around this. We should change our thank you page. We should change our pre-call stuff to this. So it just allows me to be way fucking faster. Because you could do this, right? You can go into Fathom, you can export all the transcripts, you can put it into a Google Doc, you can throw it into Claude, you can ask it questions. But by the time that you do that, there's already more calls that have happened. That data is then old and stale. And I can just literally plain text in Slack.
Do you have, did you have Claude Code just make you some Python scripts that update that every day?
No, it's an API call. So every new API goes in, and then it knows all our clients, and then it just categorizes it based on it.
N8N, or where do you do the automation for that?
So I had my OpenClaw, Charlie,
Okay.
my AI slave. I had him.
Do you have a little Mac Mini running that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We were building some shit and I just had it running like straight up on my laptop.
Me
It's just
too.
a bunch of Python scripts that just
Yeah.
run every day, 9 a.m.
Yeah, so I could literally be like, hey, Charlie, go into the sales orchestration database and tell me the 5 biggest. I do that right now.
Can I ask what LLM or what model Charlie's running on?
Anthropic. Yeah, so for normal conversations, it's Sonnet. And then for anything that's deep research, he knows how to use Opus.
Dude, Opus is so good.
Yeah.
Opus blocks. So fast, dude. It's sentient.
It actually is.
In my opinion, dude, it's just so good.
Yeah. So that's just plugged right into the Supabase.
Yeah, so I just prompted, hey, Charlie, give me the 5 biggest objections we're seeing on Budget Dog calls this week. Pull from the sales call orchestration Supabase. I didn't spell anything right. So that's that. Now, the way that it ports into the Supabase is an end-to-end workflow. But I told him what I wanted to get done, and I said, hey, use N8N to do this. Here's the Fathom API key. Here's your N8N API key. And then he goes in and builds this. He builds these. All I got to do is double click on shit and change like the credentials or log into some stuff. It's like very minimal, right? But the whole thing is predicated on these 4 systems, right? My OpenClaw, my N8N, my database, and Fathom. And I can do literally the work of like multiple people doing this. All my follow-ups are set up. Another really cool one, if you guys are running ads or any type of application or form before a booking, you can actually have that application come in. So we have, obviously, somebody opts in, they have the application submitted in type form, all that information should be in your CRM, right? What it does is it goes into Fathom, it says, hey, make me a pre-call message. So then based on if it was booked by a setter or if it was direct booked, if it was direct book, it's gonna pull the application questions and it's gonna create a customized text message. So it's gonna be, let me pull it up.
That's just like increased show rates or whatever?
Yeah, it increases show rates like pretty damn well. Let me go into,
Do you scrape your site with that for context? Firecrawl or something?
no, I do it all based on the application questions. Or if it's booked by a setter, we pull in the setter notes. So setters have a specific calendar that they're forced to put the notes in upon booking, and it's also forcing them to put their name on that booking. So, you know,
Those calls are reported too, or no?
yeah.
Okay.
But what I like to go through the setter notes is a little more personal. So this is literally this is like the most simple fucking flow. So the webhook comes in, right? So here's an execution. The webhook comes in from the booking. It messages the model, like here's the prompt. So output a sales call confirmation SMS exactly like below. Click the biggest pain points. This is gonna be coming from the setter notes. And then here's all the, if you guys use NN, you just drag and drop these things in here. So then the output comes in, right? So, hey, I was just looking over your information. I'm excited for our lead strategist, Chris, to discuss how Budget Talk can help you improve your financial stability. Can you please respond with a yes, so I know that you saw this and you're gonna be on the call. And that's a group chat between the setter and the closer. So now the setter is edifying the closer that they're talking to. They're giving him some context. And then it's just gonna say, hey, please respond with a yes, so know that you're gonna see the call. Once they respond with yes, there's an autoresponder in GHL that if response is yes, it's gonna then send them to our thank you page, which has our, you know, what the call is, all the FAQs, all the testimonials, all the case studies. And then we say, hey, were you able to check that out? Reply done if you saw it. They reply done, and then we then say, thanks, awesome. Here's our trust pilot. Looking forward to our call on this period of time. Fully automated, right? We were paying a call confirmer, few $1,000s a month to confirm calls on the phone, like literally calling people, having real life human-to-human conversations. We tested this alongside it, and there was a 1% drop off on show rate. So we're like, well, fuck that. I'll lose 1% and save a couple $1,000s a month. So we fired all our call confirmers and literally just used this, and it's done. And if we want to change anything, we just change the prompt. And then this ports back into GHL as a custom field, right? So it finds the email of the person and then updates the AI call confirmation SMS custom field with that message. And then that's just in a workflow in GHL. Any questions on this?
Those go out through iMessage using Link?
Yeah, it could be whatever, as long as it's plugged in.
A lot of this is, are you generating all the automations with AI, or are you manually automated building?
No. So this is, that's the webhook right here. So we have Fathom go into GHL. I like to send everything from GHL, because then you get all the information that you have on that person as an opportunity to use in your prompting.
So I'm just asking about like NAN,
Yeah, it's open clause building to NAN.
open plot building this.
Yeah.
And then, so you're not touching like this, you're just telling open plot builds the NAN automation as a whole,
Yeah.
and then it troubleshoots it in there.
Yeah, and then I wrote this prompt myself, just because I knew what it was, and I've gotten pretty good at prompting. But we've had some situations where this AI responds like, hey, here's your AI call confirmation SMS, and then it puts it in there, and that automatically is sent to the prospect. And then a setter was like, hey, what the fuck is this? And then I'm like, hey, Charlie, go into this N8N and fix this prompt and make sure that it doesn't ever do that shit again, right? Let's see if, yeah, so here he goes, right? So on it, pulling from the Supabase now. Let me check the schema, pull this week's Budget Dogs data. Here's the 5 biggest objections from this week, right? There's 50 calls from March 9th to the 13th. I can't fund the program, no liquidity, 13 calls, right? Prospects genuinely don't have access to the cash. They don't have the ability for this. He's pulling specific names and situations, right? Price sticker shock, right? Different from liquidity. The folks have money, but balk at the number, right? She said the price was double what she expected. Spouse not on the call, 7 calls. 7 calls had skepticism or trust issues, timing or life situations. And he's pulling legitimately direct quotes from all this, right? Since he's also in their channel, he's talking about how the sales team is raising these issues in their meetings, right? There's a marketing problem going on this week, right? I already know that, but like, I literally wrote 1 sentence without spelling anything right? Orchestration. It was able to understand my stupidity and give me valuable data just because I built a database. And the database probably took me 5 minutes to make. I signed up for Supabase, it cost like $20 a month. And then I just told Charlie to fucking port all the calls in there and do this exact thing. And the outcome that I was looking for was to be able to plain text ask AI and it could give me very valuable insights. I could then go, hey, go put that in a Google Drive, in a report, and then share it with this email address and he could share it with the marketer. Cool. So I kind of spoke through a lot of that shit. Also another great thing is you guys are getting started on a new offer, you guys are pitching something new, different price point, whatever. You can have this grade all your calls too from the Fathom and put it into a spreadsheet. So we have one of these for our managers. Can I zoom in on this shit? Yeah. So this goes into a Google sheet. It's going to tell you who the rep was, the prospect, the duration of the call. And then we gave it a grading rubric. So I just had all of our sales managers be like, hey, how are you grading calls? How are you looking at calls? What are you holding the sales reps accountable to? I had them write that all down. And then I had AI build a script to then analyze all the calls based on how we were analyzing them manually. And then what it does is it pops in here. So here's the closed deal, here's this, likelihood, did they frame it, did they show off our tools, how was their discovery, did they talk about our guarantee, did they talk about financing, right? So now our sales manager doesn't have to scroll a Slack channel, he doesn't have to go listen to a bunch of fucking calls, he can come into here and be like, oh, this one needs work, this one needs work, this one needs work. What's not pictured here is the Fathom link is on the right side of this. But now he's empowered, right? What the fuck is this? And that just ports in automatically. Every single call, immediately after the call, you get that. You could probably set up a flagging system that if something comes in at a certain score, it pings Slack to the manager. It's like, hey, review this call, right? And then this is a second tab that we have that goes a little bit deeper into it. So this is just kind of showing them a little bit more, right? Like, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, they haven't done this, they haven't done this, right? And I make these like very much like the biggest Karen of all time. Like I'd rather it make the rep look like an absolute shithead early and then we loosen the bolts, right? Cool. So this is the next thing I want to talk about. This is something that I've been doing over the last week. Is I've been building like an app ecosystem for our business. So if you guys, like for like customer fulfillment, right? Like what do you guys like, give me one offer. Cold email? Yeah. So you're writing cold emails. What is the biggest pain in the ass when you're talking to your clients about what you do, how you do it, how good it is? Yeah. Yeah. Like how are you sharing performance right now? Yeah. So what I would probably say is you would set up a Supabase and all of your data that you would be sharing or pulling into Claude right now would go into that database. And then you would just categorize it by client. And then you could actually make a visualization layer to be able to show this. So this is the apps that we've built. So hiring is a big thing for us. We hire about 5 to 10 reps probably every 10 days. We also do a lot of QC and GHL. Did the closers make a task? Did they update the pipeline stage? Did they do this? Did they follow this SOP or process? We also onboard a lot of closers and setters. So we have an automated onboarding and playbook system. I can show you what these look like, right? So this is a app that I built on a Saturday. So I can sign in with Google, right? God damn it. Come on. I cannot sign into Google. I sign in with Google, and essentially this brings me to my internal dashboard. This is for employees as well as it's client facing, right? So this client command center, this was a Notion document, right? So we have these command centers. So if you sign on as a client with us, we want to help you understand, right? Like, here's all the trackers that we have. Here's all the important, like, Google Docs, Google Sheets that they have. Training, this is like their trackers. This is their org chart. This is all of our team members that work on their account. So this person handles support tickets, right? This person does automations, data, tracking. Here's me, right? So they have this. This is cool, but it's not that cool, right? It's just a fucking Notion doc, right? So what I decided to do was I just gave that Notion doc to my OpenClaw, and I said, make this an application. So now a client, when they sign on with us, they get a login. You guys have a proprietary app, right? Your perceived quality, the perceived value of your business is higher. I'm not sharing you on a Google Doc. I'm not sharing you on a Notion slide. Not, here's all the information. I pinned it in Slack, whatever. It's like, no, hey, log into our application, and you'll be able to see, it's all the same shit, right? Here's their sales tracker, here's all the people. But like, how much nicer does this look? How much more refined is this, right? I built this in like an hour. And I didn't even build it. I just thought of it, conceptualized it, and prompted my, Versal. It's deployed on Versal, but it's hosted in Supabase. So if I go into this Supabase, like this is like the schema.
So everybody knows that you don't have to use OpenClaw to build stuff. You use Claude Code.
Yeah, you could use Claude Code, OpenClaw, Perplexity Computer. Like I said, I just started with OpenClaw, and I got pretty deep into it, so I've just been using it. I also just like the interfaces in Slack, because I'm in Slack all day long, right? I can use it on my phone. I could be laying in bed, and I could have it building software for me, which is kind of cool.
Now, all that in Supabase still only has a $20 a month subscription?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Oh, it's probably going to increase. So
Cheaper than Fathom. What's the cost on your total token usage?
So I use the Anthropic OAuth code, not an API. So I spend like $6 a month on it. Yeah.
There's no way your Claude Max subscription will, you won't go.
I just maxed a Claude Max for the first time yesterday. Bless you, dude.
Are you on the 100 or the 200?
200.
I've never maxed mine.
So what do? You just buy more credits?
Just buy more credits. Yeah.
How do you do OAuth what's the OpenClaw?
So you go into your terminal with Claude Code and you ask it for an OAuth token, and then when you're setting up your OpenClaw, you use OAuth versus API. Yeah, because a lot of people are spending a lot of money on API calls. I was like, what the fuck are wrong with these people? I was like, mine's like $4, $6. What the hell's going on? Cool. So another application, right, is closers, right? Training closers, the scripts.
That's crazy, bro.
Huh?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The OAuth versus the API, that's actually insane.
So since I signed in with Google, here's my Google Calendar. Automatically came in, right? This is the event we're in now. I usually golf today. I got to send somebody some testimonials. I got to bump some audit forms. I have a call tomorrow. This links out to the Zoom call right there. So this automatically just ports in from my Google Calendar. So if I'm a closer, I log into my portal. All my sales calls are right here. Here's all my payment links, my scripts, my daily checklist, how to use this thing. This will be their tracker right here. I haven't signed in on this one. And on the left side, it's like, all right, cool. Here's my script, right? This lives directly in here, right? I can edit this. I need to go over, I need to see, oh, I got to send a manual contract because someone paid with an ACH. Cool. The Loom video is embedded. They don't have to link out, right? Every single SOP and every single document lives inside of this dashboard portal now. And essentially all I had to do was just give it all the Notion documents that we had and all the Google Docs and essentially say, hey, recreate this in the software, or you can just link out to it because it lives somewhere else, like Asana, that we didn't want to fuck with. Now, what I'll probably do tomorrow is have this become an iframe. So now everything lives inside of this dashboard in this portal.
Can you iframe Slack in, do you know?
I haven't tried. You can make Slack apps. So what I did with OpenClaw, so I have Charlie, he's the main guy, but in each one of our pod channels, so these are client channels, there's a specific AI sub-agent of the OpenClaw that lives in each one that's only trained on that specific client, right? So right here, this was the notifications today. So we have missing PCN. So these 3 reps didn't fill out their end of call on these calls, so it's tracking that. And then that's tagging someone on our team, which is Kat, who handles getting those things done from closers. Because the biggest pain in the ass is closers doing their fucking job.
Do you have one Mac Mini? That's it, just one.
Yeah, one Mac Mini. And then essentially, this is our QC dashboard, right? So I can come in here. This is going to tell me exactly, did this person do everything that they needed to do on this? This is still a work in progress. I did this last night. But this is going to say this guy sent 5 pre-call messages, 11 pre-call messages. Are they confirming the calls? Did they move the stages in Slack on every single rep, on every single day, to see if they're actually doing their fucking job? Versus having to go in to GHL on 50 calls and look at 50 contacts and do all that. It takes our managers like 2 hours a pop to do this. Now they just come in here and they actually just go to the ones that have a low score, right? Like Rohil doesn't need to get checked on because he did an 89. What the fuck did Kyle and Sam do yesterday, right? And that's automated, right? Directly through here. And each single client has their own AI. So if you guys have clients inside of your Slack, you could create these little mini sub-agent bots that know everything about your client. You could send it all the scripts that you're cold emailing for that client, so it knows. You can give it all the reports and all the data. You can ask it. We use it big for change logs. So you guys change a cold email script. You can then log it with the AI saying, hey, I did this change on this date. When I give you reports, tell me how good or bad did this change actually do. Because that's the hardest thing. We're changing shit, we're iterating shit all the fucking time, and you never remember what was the exact date that I changed this thing on. Did the reply rate go up? Did it go down? Right? Did my positive reply rate go up or down since this change? And then and then you could feed that back into the database so that it knows, okay, this change worked well for this client. They're a B2B client. Now when I'm writing copy, I'm going to reference the positive reply rate copy that I'm having to make better reply rate copy, right? So think about how to do this, because this could be how you onboard new clients. They could have their own portal. You could share any things they need to approve. So you could create an approval system that if you upload a PDF or a new doc of new copy, you could have a send approval that sends an email to your client saying, hey, you have new copy to approve from XYZ agency, and there's a button, yes, no, or make edits. And they could approve copy automatically. Then you could have that speak with like instantly or some shit that could update the copy and automatically push a new campaign. So that's what I wanted you guys to understand is like, there's so much that you can do right now. You can build custom software for your own business to increase your perceived value. You guys want to learn how to charge more money? This is it. A client onboards you like, oh, this isn't some fucking random lead generation agency. This guy has his own software. I log into it. I get to see my reports. I get to do this. I get to do that. Did you do anything differently? No. It just feels more premium, right? Like when you log into this and you're a closer, you're like, oh, these guys have their shit together. Like I'm being onboarded properly, right? Now, in regards to like dashboards, so we have an application. I'm assuming you all use Typeform when you're hiring people. I know you are. I know you guys are. So this is a hiring dashboard. So every time that someone fills out one of our applications on our site, they come in here, right? And now all the information, right? This guy's open to being a setter. You know, he heard about this through somebody on our team through Facebook. I can go and see his experience, his Loom videos right here. I can go check out one of his call recordings. If I want to chat with my team member on this, I could be like, hey, you know, Nate, this guy blows, right? I could send this. Now Nate just got an email for no reason saying that this candidate sucks. He could reply in here and we could have a conversation about this candidate. Or if I'm reviewing candidates and I'm like, hey, this guy's going to be great for this client, I can notify the manager and I can send a push notification to him. If I want to hire this guy, we have a Typeform that talks to our PandaDoc. They fill out the information on the offer, who they are, what's their compensation, and it sends off an offer letter directly there. So it's like, what are all the things that my team is doing in all these different places, and how can I just make it one place? How can I make this super easy? Oh, like I want to look at my pipeline and my candidates here, like, oh, this person, you know, needs more information. Cool. They got moved. I got to do this across multiple different clients. Cool. So these clients, this guy's, you know, interviewing at this client, but this guy is interviewing, or he's on the bench
I like how you're just
here.
fucking everything up right now. Just wants to send some new blow and you would know he blows.
Yeah, no idea. But like I built this software in like 6 hours. And I didn't build it. I just fucking voice noted my AI slave. And I just literally just hit this and I just start talking to him and he does it. And I sit there and I scroll Instagram reels and then I'm like, oh, nice. A software is built. Now I can actually roll this out to my team and they're going to be way more efficient with what they want to do. Also, another thing is like a lot of bad candidates come in your hiring pipeline. You could set up an alert. So I only want to be notified if somebody fills out the application that hits these criterias. Then it emails me, hey, there's an actual good candidate that came in here. Now I don't have to review every single candidate. I just want to know the ones that actually fit the criteria that I'm currently hiring for, right? Now, maybe you guys don't do as much hiring as I do, which is totally fine. But the idea is to show you like, I'm not a coder. I'm not a dev. I'm just a sales guy who's lazy, who runs a business. And I'm like, hey, how can I make this like way cooler, way nicer? And I'm going to continue building these out, right? So yeah, any questions on this? And this is all just a visualization of a database. That's all this is. So as long as I have the information in the database, it can then visualize it with an app. And if I don't like something, like I went to, so like this, right? So great, we need to add more filters here. Great prompt, Dylan. Super, super clear, right? And then he's like, all right, well, what filters do you want to add? We have these filters available. I said, everything but time zone. He goes, all right, cool. Let me check it. Let me check the values. Got the full picture, adding it. And this took, what, 9:47, 10 minutes. And he deployed it. And then we have the alerts, right? And I demoed this with with our managing team, and I was like, hey, what do you guys like about this software, and what do you want it better? They're like, hey, we want the ability to set alerts, we want the ability to have the pipelines drag, and we want the ability to do the chat. I built that all in like 2 hours last night on the couch. So you can just screenshot it, you can say, hey, fix this, do this, change this, I want this added, do it. And you could just build custom software for your business. So when someone logs in, someone pays you money, they feel really good about paying you money, and they're gonna feel really good about paying you more money for the foreseeable future because you look like an enterprise. You don't look like a 2-person agency with a couple of VAs in the Philippines. And then probably the highest leverage thing for you to do is to teach your team how to build this stuff. So I've empowered our like leadership team to be able to come in here and make these softwares, test around, iterate it, because it doesn't cost me a lot of money. It costs me what, maybe $100 for somebody to try to make something that could completely change my business. But yeah, that's why we built it, right? Everything was happening pretty disparately without it. We just put it all in one thing. And as you guys know, the hardest thing for people to do is change, right? Change behavior is very hard. This is all super cool, but if none of my team members use this, it's completely fucking useless. It's only cool in this situation where I get to show it off, right? So instead of them having to go into ClickUp, go into Notion, go into Monday, go into Slack, go into Fathom, go into Sheets, go into this, go into that, you just sign in to our main portal, and everything that you want is directly in that portal, and you can go to and from and change tasks, and it's just one centralized location, right? Another cool part of this that we have is alerts, right? So if I want to set up an alert that goes out to a specific group member, so if I want to send an alert out to the client on every 28th of the month, right? One thing I'm going to be doing is setting up an invoicing system, because invoicing clients sucks. What if you could just automate the invoice because you have the number that you need to automate, or if you guys are doing recurring, not really recurring, what I do is I have to invoice each client based on how much money we made them, because we get a percentage of revenue. So if you guys are running rev share models, as long as you have the data of where the numbers are, right, which is right here, I can tell Charlie to pull that number, create a Panda doc, and then put the link in here as a recurring alert and send an automated invoice out to a client. So then they get an email saying, hey, you have an invoice from Systemized Sales, click to pay, and it's custom. I don't have to do any of the math. I don't have to do any of that. So I think the thought process is, what do I fucking hate doing every single day? And what would be way cooler if I didn't have to do it to the degree that I have to do it? And it could look cool.
How much of this can members of your leadership team like actively collaborate on?
There's 3 people.
But can they collaborate on the same exact project you built, or do they have to build their own version of it and then mess around with it from there?
So I have permissions in the OpenClaw of who and who cannot speak into or change things. And if it's anything that's serious, I have him Slack me and I have to approve it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. 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 Oh, one thing that actually could be useful for you guys, the function of this, right? So if I want to send a message out to these 50 contacts, right, I can come in here. Oh, it changed. There was a enroll in workflow button. I guess it got lost yesterday when I was doing all this shit. But you could click it and you could enroll it in a workflow in GHL directly from here, because it has the open in GHL. It has the custom link and the ID of the contact. So you guys can enroll these people into messaging sequences. You could send them a follow-up. You could do a text blast from here. You can do whatever, because it has all that information in there, because it's coming from GHL to start. Cool. Awesome. That's really all I got. Any questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
What's that stopping you from replacing a lot of other people? You might just cook your own software and replace it.
The hardest thing about knowing how to do all this stuff now is to stopping myself from doing it all. So GHL is way better than me at like connecting to Twilio, email deliverability. It already has a lot of the stuff figured out. So there's things that I'm stopping using in GHL more and more, but from the core functionality, as well as my point of like, how hard would it be me to get 70 people to stop using the thing they've used every day for 5 years and use something new that does the same thing? Yeah. So we bolt things on that make GHL way better. I mean, like right now we're building, this software is about to come out in April. So this pulls directly from GHL, from Zoom, and from Fathom. And essentially is gonna give you all of your sales insights. And this is all coming from GHL, so you can understand like, all right, which traffic source, or here you go. So I could build like a data table in here. So if I want to see my close rate on different calendars, I could add this widget, and I could come in here and look at that, right? I'm not sure which account I'm on right now. I'm in the test account. And this is all like, there's very little professional devs that did this. A lot of this was just conceptualized by people who had a big pain point. And like what this does is it automatically does your call dispositions. So like this deal right here, it closed, right? It was a first call. Obviously an offer was made. They closed at 6,500. Here's the objection notes, the close notes, and the actual general notes. This is just pulled from Fathom. And then that automatically updated GHL or the CRM or HubSpot on the back end. It moved the pipeline stage, added all the notes into the contact, and it created any task. The Fathom recording is linked directly inside of this. And then I could see actual questions. Like if I want to go into my application, right? I want to see what happened when people say certain things in my funnel. So if somebody says they're making 100 to 250K, right? They're closing at 34%. If someone's doing 75 to 100K, they're only closing at 16%, right? Right? So I can come in here, or like another one that I saw, and like for me to do this, I would have had to download a Typeform CSV. I would have had to download a GHL CSV. I would have had to upload those two things in a Claude. I would have hoped that the emails matched, hope that all the information actually was put into GHL properly. Ask it a question. This is live, right? So like for this one, which was interesting to me, was people who have 10 to 20,000 in liquidity are closing at 41%, and people who have 20 to 50,000 are closing at 20%, right? And the people who have $100,000 plus are closing at 35, less than $10 to $50,000. So I would have normally thought, if I'm building a Typeform and doing routing, that the person with the most amount of fucking cash would close more. When actually it's the people with like the least amount are closing at the highest percentage pretty much. And it's just all databases to pull this information. Obviously, this took like 7 months to build, not like the other apps that took me like a day. But like, the possibilities for you to build something fucking sick for your business to increase your enterprise value, or what if you had a SaaS that went along with your offer? You could add more money, you could have a recurring aspect to it, you could have it as a lead magnet, you can come in on this $37 a month SaaS. The way that we're gonna use this for our business is the more people that we onboard here, the more data that I have, right? So I could see that, you know, their closes are down 63% this month, right? Their show rate's down. Now this data is not actually true, but I could come in here, I could reach out to the client, be like, hey man, I went through your numbers, your show rate's decreased the last every month for the last 3 months. Do you want us to come in and run your setter team? Yeah, that'd be fucking sick, dude. You know? Or I could bolt on a coaching program to this, be like, hey, all of you guys had a bad show rate this month, we're gonna do a show rate webinar, boom, right there. And they're already customers. They're gonna already trust you because you're giving them good data, and they're gonna wanna know what the fuck's going on, right? Like here's a good one, like how would you know this data without having a software, right? Like how do I know which closers are working best with which setters? Like Spencer and Matthew are crushing, while Matt and Chris, like why is that? I'm gonna go look into that. I'm gonna tell my manager to go look into that. I wanna go and see by booking source, right? So Kyle's closing direct bookings way better than anybody else. Chris is crushing the DM sets and he's not doing good with phone setters. The DM setters are doing good here. Spencer's doing way better with phone setters. So now I have specific calendars that phone setters, DM setters, and direct bookings all use. I can now change the priority of those closers on those different lead types because I know that they close them better. So then I can route the right lead to the right closer to increase conversion rate. But cool. Sweet. Any other questions?
Can I ask, how do you use Supabase and Pinecone?
So Supabase is a SQL database. Pinecone is a vector database. So it's just two ways to visualize the same data. Vector databases is more of embeddings, whereas Supabase is more rigid with columns and rows. So a Pinecone, you can have a bunch of different data that you can ask and query in different ways. So we send the same data to both databases. So depending on what the ask is or the query, it will pull and know which database to use better. Yeah, they're the same thing.
So you have like a lot of great data points. How do you, like personally, not other team members yet, how do you interact with this every day? There's so much, right? Like all this, all structures, all these for nothing, they can take action on any moment. So like how do you prioritize all of your data?
Yep. I do a scan, right? I'm not sharing anymore, but there's usually things that we're working on a specific client that I'm keeping my eye to. And there's also like, you can set in this software KPIs and goals for the month. So our goal right now is to increase our show rate, right? Our net show rate's around like 60%. That includes no-shows and cancels. It also breaks down into cancels and no-shows. So we're noticing there's a shit ton of canceled calls on this one offer. So that's a number that I'm looking at. And I actually have Slack notifications from this software based on a daily report that I set up to tell me the things that I'm actually needing to look at. So I don't actually have to log in. I poured everything into my Slack. And then I can go back into it. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure, I don't even know how to phrase this right, but I'm sure when you were thinking of doing this, there were a ton of things that you wanted to be able to see.
Mhm.
There were probably top of mind problems or like top of mind data points that you wanted. But like, there's, like you were saying, there's also probably a million things you could have been looking for. Like, how did you, like if you were to start from scratch, how would you decide where to go, what to build, what you want to see? Like, are there top of mind things like, okay, I want to fix my closer problem first, like you're going to put something around that, or like, where do you go?
Yeah. I think it's a question of leverage. What is something that I can build that can have high leverage to a large subset of people versus like an individual? And then what are the things, it's just conversations with the actual person of like, what are the things that you like doing? What are the things that you hate doing? If I could take this completely off your plate, would you be happier and would you do your job better? And if that question is yes, then I think it's worth building. There's some things that I built just for me, and then there's most of the things I build is for other people. So I'm not even the power user of these things. So a lot of the things I have is like weekly calls with the people who use it every day. And I'm like, what could make this better? What is actually useful? Are you even using this feature, or should I just delete that feature? Right? And that's the cool thing, because like if I log into ClickUp, right? Oh, it's probably going to ask me for a fucking code again, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. So if I go into ClickUp, because I didn't build this software, they just rolled out like this ClickUp 4.0. What the fuck is all this stuff? Like whiteboards. I don't use whiteboards. We don't use it for fucking forms. We don't use it for this. We don't use goals. We don't use timesheets. We don't use literally any of this stuff. We don't house our documents in this, or like, looks like we might actually do house some documents in this. But like, this software is hard to use. I don't know what to use. I don't know how much I could be using it. There's not a rep that's helping me build this stuff out. It's really up to a team member, or most likely hiring an agency to build this for me for tens of thousands of dollars. And then AI came along and was just like, fuck, you could just build the thing that you actually want, the way that you actually want it. So I think that's the cool thing. It's like, if you ever thought of a question of like, oh, what if it did this? Like, that's now a reality. So like the hiring thing, like, oh, what if we could communicate like we do in Slack on a candidate? Like, oh, cool, we just build a chat. And I just voice noted an AI agent, like, hey, build a chat. So it's like, it's a little bit of give and take, but the biggest way that I would probably do it is like, who are people who are doing a lot of like admin, manual, shitty work, and how could you either replace them or amplify them So now we have less team members that can do way more, and we can hire more expensive, more intelligent people versus like an army of VAs because we're building stuff like this. Yeah. Anything else? Good? Sweet.
Cool. Thanks, Dylan.
Yes, sir.
We'll break for like 15 minutes, go get some drinks, use the bathroom, whatever, do another presentation, and then that'll take us